You're awesome.
I am awesome. It is a new day, Thursday. It is the day that we do the RoadFS Detail Bookie Con
Podcast.
It's podcast. I was thinking contest. The reason why is because I was thinking about Rasheed Baker. Rasheed Baker just rolled out a brand new website, bakermarinecareco.com, and he is running a little contest.
Yeah.
And basically what you have to do is go to his website, bounce around the website, and you're in search of Colonel Sanders or Colonel Cedric.
Cedric Sanders.
So Colonel Cedric Sanders, and you need to tell him what button you click to find that.
And you win a prize.
And you win a prize. There's actually winning a prize. So make sure that you go out and do
Colonel
that.
Cedric, and it's funny because I created the cartoon, and then after it was out there, I said, "Hey, that looks like you." so now maybe people will buy him chicken buckets instead of buying me ducks.
A little KFC. Actually, I'd rather have Popeyes and KFC. But
so today our guest is Dave Reed, who is
the legendary Dave.
He's got a coffee cup from the IDA. Come on.
So how you doing, Dave?
All good. Thanks for having me on. Really pleased to be here. Great to see you guys.
We're so excited. You know that there has been so many amazing things happening in the UK in the detailing industry. I mean, you had our good friend Isabel win Detailer of the Year. I think you got recognized for something. I mean, dude, it's just like the UK is like, we're coming in and we're dominating.
Yeah. Well, and last year the president was Craig. You've got just tons of stuff going on with the UK chapter. So,
So let's start off. How did you get into detailing, and what is the origin of DRD?
DAR Detailing.
Yes, DR. I keep wanting to say it's DRD. DAR Detailing.
In the UK, the lazy customers that ring me just say DAR Detailing.
There you go.
And that really bugs me. So I got into, there's no wicked story behind me. I did what a lot of guys and girls do in this industry. I turned a hobby into a business to do something I love. I got out of the corporate world some years ago. I worked in the airline industry. I was at British Airways for 30 years, or British Air, as you guys call it.
Yep.
It was time for me to start a new chapter. I was getting frustrated with the direction of the company, and they were getting frustrated with me. And I'd always worked on cars and just decided to turn a hobby into a business. And at the same time, had a location change because I sold up and moved house down to Cornwall, where I wanted to sort of finish my days because I'm living closer to the ocean, and started a business. Went through lots of different permutations as to what I could call it, and settled on my initials. So DAR is my initials. My logo is the R on my logo is backwards, and the reason why it's backwards, one, it's different, and two, when I first started detailing, I was just mobile. I didn't have a shop, and when the reflection shot on a customer's car caught my logo, it spelt rad backwards.
That's the way I read it.
and I love that 80s, early 90s BMX style, skateboarding, and it was totally rad, and that's why I settled for DAR with the R backwards, so in a mirror it looked like rad.
Nice. I love that's funny because that's exactly what I saw when you showed the logo. I
saw an ad for that movie, the movie Rad, the BMX movie. I actually saw an ad for it yesterday. Like, they're bringing it back, and I'm like, that's hilarious that you said that. But yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, go look at it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I'll have to look it up.
It's rad. It's gnarly, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's awesome. So talk about 30 years of corporate. That's pretty cool. Were you a pilot or just in operations?
No. So my background actually is in industrial relations. So in the US, I think you guys call that labor relations. I spent most of my time negotiating our way either into or out of problems with the trade unions.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
That was my background. So that was a part of human resources. I was an industrial relations manager and spent a lot of time in a lot of meetings plodding our way through change.
So you're a certified counselor.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. How's that working being a solo entrepreneur? You're having issues with yourself?
That's right. You talk to the mirror. You have to talk. You know what? How often do you? I talk to myself. I'm like, okay, here we go. Don't be an ass. Don't be an ass.
Do you know, it's interesting. It's an interesting point because when I decided to set up shop as a detailer, I wanted to get out of the world of corporate BS, which is how I felt it was for me at the time. Yeah. I wanted to move away from targets, measures, KPIs, performance interviews, giving and receiving. And I thought, if I can do a great job, that's down to me. If I do a bad job, that's down to me.
Yep.
And within probably, guys, within about 6 to 12 months of working for myself, I had made myself almost unemployable because I could not go and work for somebody again.
Yeah.
I love the freedom of working for myself.
Yep. I can totally relate to that.
And I wanted to be in a space where I was as far away from as possible from aircraft, because I saw them all day long, and ideally not have to deal with too many people. So the only people I really deal with, industry colleagues. So we're all sort of singing from the same hymn sheet, which is a good start, or customers who are important. So, I was able to move away from the frustrations of corporate life and leave some of the frustrations behind me.
Well, and I think that a lot of people do that in detailing because it's a one-on-one thing, right? You're dealing with a single customer most of the time, and you don't have to deal with a lot of the stuff unless you're into some industries where you're dealing with dealerships, or if you're in the aircraft industry, or things like that. But so you're in Cornwall, and explain to people that are over here, because most of us are geologically illiterate. What part of England is that in? North, south, east, west?
So Cornwall is in the very corner of the southwest of the UK.
Okay.
So the complete opposite end of the country to Scotland.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you're down. Yeah. Okay.
And so I mean, compared to the US, it's a tiny little island. We know that, but it still takes us a while to get around. So this weekend, I'm doing an event, an IDA event, and a certification day on Friday and Saturday at UK Detailing Academy with Rich March in Cirencester. And as the crow flies, it's it doesn't look far, but it's a 3.5 to 4 hour drive.
Right.
Yeah.
Cornwall is its own country. So there you go. Well, now you guys are going to be. No,
you said it is. What do you mean by that for us in the States?
We have to count your toes for the Cornish. Some have got 6.
Wow.
That's funny. So it's kind of like our Arkansas.
Yeah, it's our
West Virginia.
Yeah, which is funny because you got to travel for 3.5 hours, and I'm like, that's not even across our state.
Dude, I can't even get to Idaho Falls in 4.
Yeah,
it's like
So we understand. I mean, size wise, but still, I mean, the UK people are interesting because they'll say the UK and they don't understand that encompasses that they know that encompasses a lot of different things. Like you guys have got Scotland and Ireland and there's some other funny little countries in there. I don't know. And anyway,
England,
Cornwall, apparently England. Cornwall. Yeah. So that's what I think is interesting about when you step outside of your own country, and I don't care which country you're from. When you step outside of your own country and you look at the differences there, like Canada, everybody just goes Canada. Well, it's divided up into provinces, but it's massive.
Oh, it's huge.
I mean, Canada is just huge.
It's like U.S.
So it's all relative depending on where you end up. I mean, when we went over there with Richard into the Netherlands and we landed in Amsterdam, and I said, well, I'm just going to drive to the Netherlands. And people are like, that's a long ways. I was like,
right,
it was
what?
an hour drive.
That's like
an
a
hour
commute
drive
for us
is nothing.
That's a commute.
There you go. See, Richard says he's got a 6-hour drive. Now that would get us into a different state.
And that's it's an interesting commentary on the U.S., right? So I've thought about this a lot. The U.S. is heavily criticized for not being well traveled, right? But when you think about it, dude, our country and our states are so vast and so diverse. Most people, if they get to Disney World, the Grand Canyon, and maybe New York or LA, that's like a major adventure for them, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas in the UK, you're a short hop to Spain, to Greece, to Italy, to Portugal, the Germany, right? Ireland. And so it's a different, it's geographically, it provides different opportunities for you to get cultures, languages, experiences. And I think that gives you a depth that we in the States in some ways miss out on, right? Because Rod and I've traveled a lot. And I tell you, every time we go to the Netherlands, we haven't been to the UK yet, or I've been to Greece or El Salvador or Mexico, you get a different perspective, not only on the world, but you also get a slightly different perspective of detailing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure. And that's the thing is like, and Richard, you can drive to France, which people, over here, that kind of blows us away, because if you live in the central United States, you can drive for days and not get out of the country.
Texas.
And we're used to doing that. Like, just to give you an idea, is Jody and I, when I bought a couple years ago, I bought a Jeep in Kentucky and drove it back to Idaho, and it's 2,100 miles, and we did it in a day and a half.
Wow.
And people are like, that's like driving completely across, 3 continents. And I'm like, well, we had to get home. We had to work the next day. So we just drive. Whereas, it takes us, when we go to Mobile Tech Expo from Idaho, it's an all-day trip on a plane. It's an 8-hour or more to get across the country from Idaho to Florida.
Yeah.
And for Richard, yes, we drove all the way back with ducks. They were in the Jeep. Yes.
So I have a question for you, right? Because, we in the States, we have our view of how business moves. So how is detailing different in the UK? How is it the same? And how have you kind of built your business out of this mindset of, I'm getting the hell away from corporate and I'm doing something that I'm comfortable, I'm passionate, and I'm in love with?
Yeah, good question. So in the UK, let's go back to when I first moved to Cornwall. So I moved down here to the southwest of the UK in the end of 2017. Okay. And the first 2 years when I was talking to customers about ceramic coatings, they'd never heard of them. Wow. So if you think about at what point did ceramic coatings become commonplace in the detailing industry, even in 2019 down in Cornwall, people were like, what's that? So I think the UK is behind the US in terms of the timeline. The other differences, I think, are the dream, the vision, the drive in the US with detailers that are shop owners is to scale as big as they can to earn the big bucks. Multi-employee shops, multi-shops in some cases, and really ramp up the volume.
Yeah,
we have got a small number of detailers in the UK that operate that model, but by far the overwhelming majority are sole traders or very small business enterprises that have got maybe 1 or 2 employees plus the owner. And there are owners that take time out of the business to scale it, to grow it, to look at the strategic direction, but most of them are on the tools, working in the business.
Yeah.
So it's a very different concept in the UK than in the US. And I think that's because we're a little bit behind the US in that timeline.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a different mindset, right? The UK has been around a lot longer as a country. And I think that there is, the US is insanity. Everything in the US is 400 miles an hour, and everybody thinks they have to be a multimillionaire by the time they're 30 or they
bigger, better, faster,
and that is
more money.
I think that is one of the things that drives us, and one of the things that makes the US so popular to look at. But it also is one of the reasons we have a whole lot of problems, is because everybody thinks they need to make $1.5 million, and that's not a reality. So
and if you don't, you're a failure.
If you don't, you're a failure. And that's the problem is I think that people don't look at success is something that's internal, right? It's not something, it's not you telling me what I need. It's me saying like you said, I need to move closer to the ocean, away from airplanes, and I need to not be in corporate. That is a success. Whereas in the United States, hey, Mr. Good, happy birthday, Travis Roberts and Isabel up in Scotland.
And happy birthday.
Yeah. So I think that's a misconception in the US, is that people can't be, quote, comfortable and make their own reality. They have to look at, we call it keeping up with the Joneses. What does that guy got? How can I get that? I wish I had a Ferrari. You get a Ferrari, I wish I had a private jet. It's a mindset, and it's a road that you're going to drive yourself crazy. So I think people need to, in the US at least, step back. That's what I've always found whenever I go outside of the US, is it seems to be a slower pace in a good way, to where people aren't as concerned with that mentality, right?
It's, and this is a really interesting conversation, because my journey into detailing was, for me, a step closer to retirement. I never got into this industry in order to scale up to, become a multi-million-dollar shop with, 80 employees in 4 locations or whatever. I just wanted to do something that I loved, provide exceptional customer service for my clients, offer a completely bespoke service that solved problems that they had, pay my bills along the way, but I wasn't chasing the $1 billion dream. And it was a step closer to being able to retire. And I'm getting closer, but I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, but there, and I love that authenticity, right? That, I think the one thing that I really see, especially in our UK friends and associates, and also in other parts of the world, there's a piece about their spirit, because they're happy doing what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. They're loving their business, they're loving their customers. They're going at a slower pace, and they've defined success in a way that not only is rewarding to them, but it gives them a peace that sometimes I don't feel like there is in business owners here in the States, because they're always worried about, man, I'm not growing. I'm not to this point. Dude, if we're not to this many employees, we're failing, right? Instead of going, what is success? What is peace? What supports you and your family in a way that is comfortable? How do we get to that instead of just this external drive to always be growing and building and becoming more, when maybe more is just being at peace with where you are, serving your customers?
And that's a big draw for me when I moved down to Cornwall, because where I lived previously was just west of London, and it was a proper corporate rat race where, like you said earlier, everyone was keeping up with the Joneses. Next door had a conservatory built. Oh, I better get a conservatory. Someone else had a loft conversion or an attic room. Oh, I better get an attic room. They got a new car. I'll get a new car. And everybody was living beyond their means, getting into debt to keep up with the Joneses. And what I loved about Cornwall, where I discovered Cornwall through vacation here, is generally, as long as people have got enough money to put food on the table, a roof over their head, and live a comfortable lifestyle, they're very happy. And I like that. That was the humbling part for me about Cornwall. There's some good business entrepreneurs down here in this part of the country that have made a very good living, but as a general rule, locals down here are just happy if they've got a nice, comfortable life.
Yeah,
and I like that.
I love this comment from Andy, and happy birthday again, Isabel. Hi guys, same here. Myself and Isabel are now entering our twilight years. Dude, you're young. What are you talking about? And not looking to scale at all, looking for the quality of life. And I love that, right? Yeah. And I think Rod and I more and more are viewing things in that light. It's like, how do we position our business in a way that we can just breathe? I mean, sometimes I feel like we're like swimming all the time.
We had to scale back a little bit. Because in 2024, Jody and I were gone 22 weekends out of the year.
Wow.
So we literally gave up half of our
we
time.
Did 14 last year.
Yeah, 14 last year, 22 the year before. And we really decided we need to scale back, because we just, the being gone so much and not being able to enjoy our life was, and it's not that we don't enjoy going on these trips. We have a lot of fun.
Oh, dude, we love them.
On a trip with Jody and I, we have fun everywhere we go. But we also love being with our families. And that's the thing that we want to be around is, yep. And that's the thing is a lot of people talk about what they call the, do you have an exit strategy? And Jody and I kind of look at it and go, just the exit's going to bring itself. It will present itself if we just create a good business. And there's several different ways to exit. You can exit by selling. You can exit by pulling back and hiring people. There's a company here in town. They had a wonderful, wonderful restaurant called the Brick Oven Beanery.
Oh gosh,
and what they did,
were so good.
They decided they didn't want somebody to take their business that they'd built up over 30 years and make it different. So they just took all the recipes from their restaurant. They wrote them down in a book. They said, we're going out of business on January 1st, and we're going to sell you the recipes. You can do it yourself. And they just shut it down, sold the cookbooks and shut the restaurant down. And so there's many different ways to do it, but I think the main thing is you have to have your sanity. And that is the part that anybody running in that rat race, the sanity is what ends up, tearing you down, and the belief that you have to get bigger. You can grow by just getting rid of something, a stress. That's a big growth. Getting rid of some stress. Jody's tried to get rid of this stress for a long time.
But it's like the Black Plague, man.
Keeps coming back.
Keeps coming and growing.
It's like Velcro. You can't get rid of it.
So I have a question for you too, in respects to the IDA. You're very heavily involved in the IDA. You are an RIT. You've been on the board. I mean, you're very active. But I'd like to talk about it from the perspective of how has the IDA helped you as a single entrepreneur, right? Because I think we always hear the question, well, what have they done for me lately?
Yeah.
You know, so I want to talk about that in real terms. What has it meant for you, and what has it enabled you to do?
Do you know, I love data, and it's great if you can quantify something with data. And this is going to be one of those responses that's difficult to do that. But I sat in a bar. All the great stories start with this.
Yes, they do.
I sat in a bar in Manchester in 2021, I think it was, and I had a beer with Alan Metcalf. He was my RIT when I took my IDA skills validated test. We had about 8 or 9 guys in the UK all testing over the same weekend. We were just coming out of one of the UK pandemic lockdowns, still wearing masks and everything. And I had this conversation with Alan over a pint, and he helped me understand what the IDA's done for me and my business, and what it's done to change me is my language has changed with my customers as a direct result of engaging more and more with other detailers in the IDA, whether that's IDA members in the UK or IDA members in the US or globally. My language has changed. So I can't put a figure on it. I can't put an example to it, but the way I talk to my clients, the way I talk about my services has changed because of the IDA. Yeah. I don't know whether it's more professional, whether it's more technical, maybe a bit of the both. But all of my customers, all of my regular customers know about the IDA.
Yeah.
They don't know the detail, of how it's structured, what all the committees are, how the board operates, but they know about the IDA and they know what it stands for, and they respect and value me because I'm investing in my own professional development by giving back. Attending a training is investing in my professional development, but so is coming on this podcast with you guys. So is attending a committee meeting or a board meeting, because I'm always learning, and you get out what you put in. I put in loads and I get out equally, if not more.
Yeah. And I think that's whenever people talk about the IDA, I look at it and I say, everybody has their own opinion about everything. But have you ever heard of another professional industry that does not have an organization? Every single industry has a professional organization. I don't care if it's plumbers, pipe fitters, electricians, I don't care what it is. The railroad industry, the airline industry, every industry has a professional organization. And whether or not people think it's valuable or not, you have to, and I think you said the perfect thing, you get out of it what you put into it. If you don't put anything into it, you're not going to get anything out other than, like people say, a piece of paper. But even that piece of paper has a value and it has a legitimacy to what you're doing. Oh, Alan, damn, me and my beers at events. Good trouble. Exactly, Alan. That's it. Yeah. So I think that's the thing.
I've lost sound, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you. Yeah. He lost us.
Good, you can hear me. I can't hear anything. Let me unplug these.
Well, we'll let him go.
We'll let him get.
We'll figure out. He lost his speakers. It looks like.
Now you got it.
Hello, bad man.
Now.
Calling for you.
No,
can you hear
you?
We can hear you.
There, how about now?
How about now?
How about now? Can you hear me now? Hello.
I
I'm
feel
trying to
like I'm the
switch
Verizon commercial.
my microphone options to see if I can hear anything.
Okay.
All right. Well,
We'll talk about you while you're gone, and you know what.
yeah. Let's talk about Alan, right?
Talk about
So,
Alan.
I mean, let's talk about
do a
Alan.
couple of
Alan is one of those guys
Know a little
that
something about
just
tech.
is fun to be around.
But he's never had a pint with us.
He's never had a pint, but that's my fault.
The problem.
That's my fault because I don't drink. But he didn't even invite me for a
I
pint.
know.
That's my
See that?
point. So
Mr.
it's like
Metcalf, we're gonna have to invite us. Can you hear us now, Dave? How about now?
Dave lost it. Dave's out. So
Dave's out. He can't hear anything.
I'm not sure what's going on here, guys. It looks like you can hear me, but I can't hear anything.
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you just fine. So, but I want to give Alan a shout out because he did a great job as the IDA president. He's now
Let me start pulling out US.
one of the faces for PNS.
Reinserting them.
He's done a really good
Is
job.
that a good thing to do?
Sure, try it.
For it.
We're gonna let him go out.
We got two separate podcasts going on here. We got the Dave Reed podcast and we got the Jody and Rod podcast.
Yeah, so
his is on a different plane of.
He lost it, man. He's out.
See, this is the cut and thrust of going live. It's live or nothing.
It is live or nothing.
Right.
That's what we
do. Sign language now.
All right, here. Can you understand? I wish I knew sign language. I feel like I'm.
You might be flipping something.
I might. So that's a problem. So
we need an interpreter here.
Yeah. So I want to comment a little bit.
I'm having to play around in settings now to see if I can.
Poor Dave, he's over there.
He's struggling. We don't care. Jody and I
we're just having a good time.
So let's talk about the IDA in the UK because that whole chapter, if you think about it, Dave and Alan Metcalf and then Craig last year, Richard Hutchings, you've got Andy and Isabel, and then you've got hold up bits of paper, hold up a sign.
Esme.
Yeah, Esme. There's all kinds of people. Well, Esme's not in the UK. She's more over in the Netherlands.
Yeah, but still, she's over on that side of the pond.
There you go.
Let's see what, gents, I'm always in for
anything. I will admit, since selling my company, my IDA commitment has been difficult, but I sit in the back moving puppet
strings.
There you go.
That's funny.
There you go. Well, if Jody and I actually
Alan's typing because I can read then.
Oh man,
this is great.
This is funny.
Smoke signals. There you go.
We'll send smoke signals.
I thought I'd sorted it then. There's an inline volume lead on these headphones, and I thought, oh, maybe I've just turned it down. But that didn't work either.
Great. This is great entertainment.
Oh, man, that's funny.
We got Dave trying to figure out audio.
Even if I go to my default microphone, it's sadly not picking up any volume or not sending any volume.
Maybe try it and let's see what Andy says. Dave gives 110% always. People like him, make the idea what it is. I know Isabel said on loads of occasions how welcome she has been made. Her first event in Sheffield, she was blown away by how friendly and welcoming everyone was when we are
that
over
event in Sheffield.
US,
that was only because, again, it all started in a bar. We were in a bar having a drink.
There you go. It all started in a bar.
It's all in a bar.
We're gonna rename the podcast. It all started
in a bar. The podcast went downhill after the bar. Oh, that's funny. I don't know. Let's go see what that said. It said
replying to Mike's Marine Care. Mike's Marine being from Cornwall, they use smoke signals. That's great.
Oh man, that's so great. Funny. Oh, well, we are definitely having a good time this morning. I would like to talk about one thing while Dave's figuring this out. I would like to talk about one thing about what he said about the benefits of the IDA not being quantifiable.
Right.
And it's like, it's the intangibles that I found in associating with people all across the world. I mean, I think about people like Dave and Alan and Richard and Isabel and Andy and the whole nine, Craig, right? I would not have exposure to their experiences, their insight, their wisdom if it was not for the IDA. And, you know, I think about our travels throughout the world, Netherlands and El Salvador and Mexico. It's interesting. I reflect on my experiences in El Salvador and Mexico with Rigo and with Juan Gonzalez and Christian from Puerto Rico. And every time I go, I get a different perspective on what success is. I get different perspective on what it means to be a dad, a business owner, a husband. I mean, and those lessons are invaluable because I think we as business owners, oftentimes we're so focused on the business that we're not focused on the development of ourselves. And true growth happens when you're looking at the person in the mirror and going, dude, you have to level up. You need to change. You need to shed some things that are holding you back. You know, and when we can start doing that, all of a sudden we build greater impact in the circles that we're called to serve. So anyway,
absolutely. We got one comment.
That's my perspective. So anyway, well, we will have to politely, I guess, let Dave go off and figure out what's happening with the sound and a good pint.
That's right. Maybe if he goes to a bar, you need to go
he
to
needs
a bar.
He
needs
to
go to
cheers.
A bar, and you need to get some. There you go.
That's awesome. So
the only other thing you could try is to bump him off and have him.
But he won't even know that I'm bumping him off. All right, here I'm going to do this. I'm going to type a comment. I'm gonna bump you off. Try coming back in.
There you go.
All right, here we go. All right, we're going to say goodbye to him. Ready?
You gotta post
I did.
No, he didn't see it.
Oh, well, I can highlight it like that. Yo, look, smoke signals. Read the message. Read the message.
There you go. Okay.
All right, here we go. We're going to bring him off and bring him back in. All right, we will see. Will this work?
How about now?
And nothing.
Nope, there he goes.
All right, he left. He left.
Jump off and
He
then
left.
Jump back in. Okay.
All right, so that's awesome. So, so if you are in the UK, I am hearing that they're having a little summit in June.
They are in June in Scotland, which the Detailing Summit website has listed that there's a summit going on up there. They're a great event because the summits are more than just a training. They're a number of days. There's certifications. You learn all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't otherwise be exposed to. And that one's going to be up in, which I wish we were going to the one in Scotland. I really want to go to Scotland. I want to visit that, and we've got to go sit down with Andy and Isabel and have some time in Scotland. But we're not going to be able to make the one in June. Dave Reed's trying to get back in. Come on, baby. Here we go.
All right, let's see. We see him. We see him in the. Is he going to be here?
He's back. Are you there?
Are you there?
I can hear you.
Yes, he's
all
back.
right.
That is like a corporate team building exercise where I don't even know if I can speak because I don't want to speak over you, but I can't hear what you're saying anyway.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, you'll have to go back and listen to that section because there's quite a lot of comments made during that time.
There you go. So again, just to follow up on that is the Scotland thing that's happening in June. Is it June?
Yeah, June. What's the date, Dave?
It is. Let's have a look. Richard is gonna put them in the chat before I can even get to myself.
Andy or Richard will put them in.
It'll be a race. All right, Richard or Dave.
Who's going to get the
17th to the 17th to the 20th of June.
All
17th
right.
to the 20th of June. So go out and look at the summit's website, and then there's also an event next March in Manchester. Right under the Concord. I mean, what a beautiful.
Do you know the date, Rod?
March? No.
15th.
It's the 15th.
Remember, you kept.
I kept saying March, and it was in May. June 17th to 20th.
Yeah.
March 15th.
It's going to be awesome.
So there's a lot of events coming up that are really cool, and I think people need to take the opportunity to get outside of their own little environment and go enjoy some of that stuff. It's fun, and you meet a lot of new people. That's the one thing is if it wasn't for the IDA, we wouldn't meet half the people in the industry that we know. So I think this talk is going to be just what I need to hear. I'm stuck. So let's talk about that for detailing business owners that are stuck. What advice would you have for them? March 12th. It's not the 5th.
I know. I just was testing.
It's 12th.
Well, it depends. It depends what you mean by stuck.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you're stuck with growth, you're stuck with ideas, if you're stuck with scaling, if you're stuck with trying to attract the right customers, my number one piece of advice is surround yourself with positive people in the industry and get involved in a trade association like the RDA, because there are so many experienced detailers that will help you for free. That's a massive part of your membership that, the IDA doesn't even promote, because it's just detailers helping detailers. I really, really love, and I've used it here in the UK on a couple of occasions, a quote from a guy that you guys know well, Dustin Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
And you will have heard him say this before. He says, and I first heard this at Mobile Tech Expo a few years ago, and I thought, wow. He says, collaboration. No, he doesn't. He says, competition is a race to the bottom.
Yep.
Collaboration happens at the top.
Exactly.
And I first heard that and thought, that is so powerful. So don't worry about the competition. Work with them. There's enough cars to go round. And if you're stuck, reach out and let other detailers help you.
Yeah. And so I think that the key here is first identifying what you're stuck, but that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. What are your goals? Where are you trying to be? The Bays Mesa here that's saying stuck with growth and harder to get the right leads. The right leads, that's a really important piece of that sentence. Those right leads are what you are going after, your market. And a lot of times what people forget about when they get stressed out is that your existing customers are easier to get in the door than finding a new one. Mm-hmm. So reach out to your existing customer through a notification, or have an event. Sometimes having an event at your shop if you're brick and mortar, or just sending out a message that says, hey, I'm going to be in your neighborhood if you're mobile. Keeping yourself at top of mind. That's what a lot of that is. Lead generation, a lot of it is just making sure that you're seen. So how are you being seen in your community? If you go out to social media any day of the week, you're going to see people that are marketing to the entire country, and they're marketing to other detailers. They're not marketing to their target audience, which is people that you want to come into the door and bring you business. They are marketing to the Joneses. They're like, look at my shop. Look at how awesome it is. Look at this car that I just did, which is a great way to show your work. But who are you showing it to? That's the key, is who you're showing it to. I talked to a gentleman the other day that real estate offices are a great resource in the United States. They usually have a meeting once a week with the real estate agents. You can walk in the door and ask if it's okay if you hand out a flyer or talk to them. And if you're a mobile person, it's a great way to say, hey, I'm going to be here on Tuesdays in the mornings, and I can take care of your cars. So just look in your local community and see where your market hangs out. And that's a good way to start, seeing where that right leads are.
Well, and I think about our friends down, and you've mentioned them before, down in Utah. They're single operators, and they both were kind of stuck. and they're like, you know what, why don't we do some collaboration together instead of having this competitive mindset? Why don't we do some collaboration together, do some jobs together, but also if I'm behind, I'll send them and they've built this great little symbiotic relationship where they're cross promoting each other, they're working together, they're bouncing ideas off each other, and that's enabled them to grow, right? Yeah. And a lot of times being stuck is just opening the door to something that you hadn't considered before, because it's unorthodox. Let's be honest. Yeah. It's unorthodox to call your detailer down the road and go, hey, I'm a detailer over here and I'm struggling. The first response is, well, what's your motive? What are you trying to understand? What are you, it's like, dude, what's your
angle?
Right? Instead of going, look, I'm just trying to figure out how I can move the needle. Is there a way that we can work together? And so it really becomes getting creative, right? So what do you see, Dave? You started to say something earlier. So,
well, one of the things that I think probably in the USA you guys have tried and tested way before we caught up in the UK, but one of the things that worked well for me when I was stuck a few years ago was I was stuck with attracting the right clients with the right cars. And it works better if you've got a shop, but it can also work if you're working out of a truck and you're mobile. Is I reached out to a couple of local car clubs that had a certain brand or mark, Porsche, Lotus, Jaguar, higher end brands, if you like, and said, look, I'd like to offer you and your members a free car care workshop. I didn't call it a training course. I called it a car care workshop.
I like that.
Yep.
Come along to my place on Sunday, whatever day. I always did it at the weekend because that's when car clubs like to go out and drive when they're not in the office or not at work and they've got time to enjoy their cars. Come to my place, and I always made it an 11 o'clock start because generally they will meet up as a club and go for a good old spirited drive first, which is what they really want to do.
Yes.
Then they turn up at my place. I give them some pastries and croissants and coffee and tea. And I give them a little bit of classroom theory about chemical use, about safe wash processes, 2-bucket wash method, snow foam pre-wash, watch how you dry your car, all the basics. And then I draw 2 names out the hat and I say, you're going to get your car washed for free. I'm not going to wash it for you. You're going to wash your car, but you're going to use all my tools, chemicals, equipment, the knowledge that we've just talked through, and you're going to do it with my supervision, my guidance, my support. Yep. And I laid it on for free. Now, in reality, it's pretty much a day out of your diary. By the time you go in and set up, go to the store to buy some croissants, to when you lock the door and get home, it's a day.
Yeah.
But the work that I got out of that on the back of it, because once their car's clean, don't do it on a cloudy day. Do it when the sun's out, because then they see swirl marks. So I'm not going to a car show, going up to the owner saying, lovely car, what's that on your bonnet, on your hood, sorry. Look at all those swirl marks, because all I'm doing is criticizing their pride and joy. I haven't built trust.
Yep.
But because I'm sharing my experiences and knowledge with a group of people in a car club, they start to trust me. So then when they say to me, the car looks amazing, but what's all those circular scratches on my hood? Great question. They're called swirl marks. Let me explain to you about swirl marks. These are tiny little V's in the surface. They can be corrected through machine polishing. We need to polish the clip. And you go into the sales patter. The work that I've got out of laying on a couple of those events over the last few years has changed my business massively.
Oh, yeah.
So I do a load of Jags and I do a load of Porsches, and it's just because I built trust with a group of people in a car club.
Yeah, and we did the same thing in Utah with, we went on the parking lot and we wanted to do a demo of an interior cleaning. And this is a great time to do interiors this time of the year. Get some floor mats and do a workshop and show them how to clean floor mats the right way with the right chemicals, the right pH, then you neutralize it, you go this brush, and all of a sudden their floor mats look great. And now they're going to either come to you to buy product or to get advice or to have the whole car cleaned. And that was a really powerful training, because when some of these people left, they had one clean car mat. So now they've got 4 mats, one of them's clean. And so they're coming back. So that is the thing, is that some of these just ideas, do the same thing at an office. If you have an office that's got regular people that are meeting there on they meet on a Tuesday, hey, somebody bring in a really dirty car mat, and clean it for them right there on site, show it to them, and then pass out cards. It's a good way to get some business and also to share some knowledge. And you got to be genuine. Great advice. We're doing a lot of these this year, and the whole idea is getting trust. Yes, we're going to be detailing motorbikes, specific ones, getting them to wash their own cars, bikes is genuine. And that's another great one.
Yeah, having them do the work, that is awesome. Do the work,
show them how to do it, and then after that, bringing up, okay, let's talk about swirl marks and scratches, and show a little bit of a machine polish before and after. And now you've got them to where they're very interested. And the thing about it is you have to be genuine. Right? The day you go in and it's a sales pitch, that it's going to stop. But if you're genuine, just trying to help people out, it will come back to you. You don't have to close the sale on something like that. You've already closed it by them being there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Mike Phillips did a talk on this at a class at MTE, I think 3 years ago, and he called it, I was sitting in his class listening, thinking, that's what I do. But he called it walking in through the back door. He said, you don't need to knock on the front door as a salesman with your foot in the door trying to get the sale, the hard sell. Just walk in through the back door, and this is how you do it. And it works.
Yeah, it really does.
I love that.
Because there's a lot of people that they follow that old adage of, okay, if I've hung the shingle outside and I've done all my advertising and I've got the shop and my shirt all looks good, come. And now where are all the customers? You still have to go out and do stuff. These are easy and inexpensive ways. I bet you could do that 4 or 5 times a year and spend less money than a single ad out on the internet.
Absolutely.
There's our friend, the Bays Mesa.
The Bays Mesa. Great idea on the free wash.
Do another club event, Ben's and Bagels. That's it. That is perfect.
Yeah.
Ben's and Bagels is the base. It's got a good ring to it. There you go. Rinse this demo, free wash. That's perfect. That is a perfect event.
Really good.
Do that a couple of different times, whatever.
No, that's awesome.
That's a great
and I think
idea.
at the core that it's like you're showing what it really takes, because let's be honest, most consumers don't really understand what it takes to wash and detail a car properly, right? And so you're inviting them into your shop for a workshop, right? Let me show you what it really takes. And sometimes the light just goes on and it's like, whoa, I've been doing this wrong. Right. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Let you do it for me, please.
And then the next question is, I need to buy product off you.
Exactly. But that's the other thing is you can open that door. If that's something you're not currently doing, you don't have to change your whole business model. But I know of Nathan Warren used to do this in Indiana. He had a very small store front at the front, and he would sell products to people. Other people have done it all the time where they have a little bit of a thing. They're like, this is the products that I use. They don't make it a secret. Here's the products that I use. This is how I use them. And they would sell either rinseless wash. So between details, you use this. They have people coming to them for products, advice, detailing. And then the next thing you know, they're bringing their second car and their boat and all the other stuff, because you've become their trusted advisor, which is what you want to be. When you become somebody's trusted advisor for all things that have to do with surfaces that are painted or polished, that's where you have succeeded in that realm of people asking you questions and getting advice, which brings you business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I love the hands-on because it becomes a testament of what you're showing them, right? It's like they can see you're not trying to pull the wool over their eyes, because a lot of customers, when they come in, they're afraid of being sold. And when you're educating and showing and getting them involved, all of a sudden you build trust. And boy, once you have trust, you have their business. Whether they're doing business directly with you or they're your biggest fan going, hey man, if you want your car detailed, you got to go to Dave.
Yeah.
Because that guy really knows his stuff. And so that trust factor, building that trust, is really a launching pin for your business.
Yeah. And you can do this with any segment of the industry. Like Andy was mentioning motorcycles. That's a great one because you can have the motorcycle clubs come out, you have a barbecue. You're like, the first thing you tell them, we got to wait till your bike cools down because, as you all know, we don't spray a warm engine. And then you're going to have somebody that periodically goes, I didn't even know that. You have to turn the handlebars this way because if you turn the handlebars the other way, then the bike can roll and fall out. And you're really educating them on the basics. And then you can talk about things like, our friend Richard would be proud of, which is the vinyl and leather repair. And you can get, our friend Russ involved with invisible patterns. And you can go into all kinds of the industry that is helping them. And they're, you got to think about it. Even if you're not a car, boat, motorcycle, airplane gal, if you're not passionate about those, the people that have them are. They live and breathe these cars. I'm sure the people that you do with the Jaguars and the Porsches and the Bays with the Mercedes, they are passionate about those cars. They are, and so by showing them how to give that a little more love, you are becoming a friend of theirs, which is more than just a customer. It's becoming a friend and advisor, everything you want.
Yeah, I love that. So
well, you're helping passionate car owners understand what challenges and problems may arise with their car and giving them solutions for them to sort it themselves. And that's what gives the detailers the respect. So, they will, when I go and do a class or a talk with a car club, I say to them, look, I don't want work on the back of it. I just want to come and help you care for your own vehicles. I do get work on the back of it, but I don't tell them that's why I'm doing it.
No, exactly. You will always get the residual on this. You always will. You could do the same thing with farm equipment, with tractors and coatings. Yeah. You do the same thing with it doesn't matter. But that is a great way to do it, and it is so much cheaper than getting advertising and having an ad out there because you're engaging them. The car club culture is a perfect example of what you're talking about. So just try some of those things to see how it works, and then get back with us and let us know how it worked.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, dude, I have absolutely loved this conversation. I know you're probably getting towards tea time or dinner time over there.
Well, I've got in 1 minute, I've got to jump on a IDA board call.
Yes, there you do. So anyway,
so we're going to let him go.
Thank you so much. And you guys, thank you so much for tapping in. Please connect to Dave. He's got a heart of gold. Thank you guys for tapping in, and we will check you same time, same bat channel, just next week.